Time to elevate. You're running on empty with Matt and Tony.
Hey, everybody. Welcome to Running on Empty. I'm Matt.
And I'm Tony.
And we're running on empty and super excited for today's interview. Tony, why don't you jump in and let us know what's going on today?
Yes, Matt. Every time we talk about elected officials, we tend to talk about presidents or governors or senators, even members of the U.S. Congress, but we don't often talk about local government elected officials. And that's usually where a lot of the hard work is being done, especially from mayors. And today we have with us my second most favorite mayor in Wisconsin. Now, of course, my favorite mayor is Lori Palmieri of Oshkosh.
You have to say that.
Yes, I have to say that. But
She's
my
great.
second most favorite mayor is the great Katie Rosenberg. She is the mayor of Wausau, Wisconsin. Welcome, Katie.
Hey, thanks for having me. Everyone knows where Wausau is now, so it's really exciting.
Yes, Wausau is in, would you describe it as north central Wisconsin?
Yeah, we're probably just like right north of center.
Yes, north center. And it's a really wonderful little city of about 40,000 people. It's in Marathon County. And Katie, you were on the Marathon County Board of Supervisors before you got elected mayor. Is that correct?
I was first elected in 2016, so it's always been a little exciting.
Yeah, served a couple of terms on the county board, and which, by the way, the Marathon County Board has this ridiculously high number of supervisors, 38 supervisors.
Yeah, it's the biggest in the nation, and they actually reduced the size. So it used to be 39 members.
Wow.
Oh, okay. So that, wow. All right.
Get a little
At least you're going in the
reasonable.
right direction.
And later on, we'll talk about how the Marathon County Board of Supervisors has, let's just say, a very diverse group of viewpoints represented,
That's
as
true.
we'll see. But then in 2020, Katie Rosenberg did run for mayor of Wausau, and you took on an incumbent. Is that correct?
I did. Yeah, I don't know if I recommend that to everybody, but I did that.
And she did win the election by I guess the percentage was around 52 to 48. And since you've been mayor, Katie, I think you've established a reputation for being outspoken but yeah, we want to. What does a small town or a small city mayor actually do? I know that Wausau has a budget of around $100 million. Is that correct?
Yep. We're doing that right now.
Is much of your time consumed with things like budget planning? What does the mayor of a 40,000 person city actually do?
That is an awesome question, because that was the thing I asked myself before I decided to run. I was like, what does a mayor even do? Like, I know they're elected. I know you get to talk about politics. So, there's some statutory language in the state statutes that tell you, okay, you're required, you're this, you lead these meetings, you're, the person who is the head of the city. But there isn't a lot of guidance. So I could be working on the budget, or I could be doing whatever I want. So I kind of decided, like, this is the kind of mayor I'm going to be. I really like data. So we are working on the budget. We started doing, what is it called? It's priority-based budgeting. So all the department heads hate me because they get to slice and dice their budget into programs instead of just line items. It's really kind of fun. So we've been doing that for, gosh, I don't know, since April. So if you think the budget just shows up in November, that ain't true.
Yeah. Where does the bulk of $100 million budget go? Is it public works? Is it public safety?
Yeah. So probably public works and public safety are the two biggest. And obviously that goes to people, just like every other business, I would hope and assume, at least in the public sector. So yeah.
And $100 million sounds like a lot of money, but you really don't have a lot of money to do things like add new positions or things like that. Or
doing all that is a fight. And you probably have heard about that if you're following along at home. Yeah. So we kind of have to do a lot with a little bit. We get grant funding. So figuring out, okay, we could get grant funding maybe to fund something for 3 years, but what's the city council in 3 years going to decide?
Exactly.
So it's lots of fun. But we got all this ARPA money, which is really exciting. We got almost 16 million, which makes a big impact. We got a ton of CARES funding. So we're able to do a little bit more than other mayors. I mean, it's historic, right? I mean, this probably won't happen again in my lifetime. At least I hope we don't have something like this happen again in my lifetime.
Has the city council and you decided what you're going to do with the ARPA funds yet?
So we've been holding public listening sessions. That was kind of my one of my shticks when I ran, was that I want more public engagement. So we held a meeting in May to hear, what do you people think? What do you want to spend the money on? And it was pretty random. We kind of gave the criteria, but we're holding another one this week at the end on Thursday, I think, and we'll hear more. But one of the things that we're hearing about, you're probably hearing about it everywhere, is affordable housing. It's a real big struggle right now. So we have already allocated some of our funding towards a project that will help with affordable housing in our downtown. So we still have millions to go, but I think, that's kind of the direction, those projects that will make a big impact.
Mm-hmm. Now you have 11 members of the city council.
Yep.
All right.
We do. We used to have 12 and the mayor got to cut all the ties.
Oh, wow.
A little dramatic.
So as mayor, you do get a vote on the city council?
Only if there's a tie. So I've only voted once on a really obscure random thing. So not even worth mentioning.
And do you have the power to veto anything?
I do.
Okay. You have not done that yet?
I haven't done it. I thought about it. There was a hot topic.
Really?
But the council voted the way I was surprised. So I did not veto anything.
Oh, wow. So I let us know when you do plan to veto something.
Oh yeah.
Would you turn your veto into like a huge public relations event?
Oh my gosh, live stream on Twitter, all of that.
I love this.
I was looking back in the mayor archives because we have some of those, and there hasn't been a veto since the mayor before the last guy. So I was reading some of his press releases about it. And I'm like, okay, this is what you do.
By the way, just for the sake of it, you have to let people know the name of the first mayor of Wausau, Wisconsin in 1874.
Yeah, August Kickbusch.
August Kickbusch.
Yes.
Who was known, I guess, for going over to Germany.
Yes.
And bringing back 700 people with him.
It was so wild. Yeah, he came over here and he said, you know what? I like this place. Yeah. I think I need 700 of my closest German friends. So yeah, he did that. And actually, that's not far off from what happened with the Hmong refugee resettlement here.
Right.
We had people going over to the refugee camps from Wausau saying, hey, you should come to Wausau, this and that. And they did.
Right. Now, I bring this up, Katie, because I'm sure old August Kickbusch back in the day wanted Wausau to be a community for all.
Oh, yeah.
Right. He wanted the German immigrants to be respected and so on. And here we are in 2021, and Wausau and Marathon County got some national news, not necessarily the greatest news, because a community for all resolution was rejected by that 38-member county board. And you got involved in this also. Can you give us a summary of what happened with this?
Oh, man, can I give you a summary of this situation? I can. I will try to be as brief as possible. Understanding I'm completely biased about this issue because it's not hard for me. But the city or the county board in June 2020 started debating this. It was called No Place for Hate. It was after the murder of George Floyd and also a lot of kind of outbursts against Asian Americans. So the Diversity Affairs Commission on the county board brought this resolution forward. Already they didn't like some of the language. They changed it from No Place for Hate to a Community for All, which, forward, that's great. But they've debated that for a year. And I mean, terms like equity, things that, those are actually county terms that get used all the time. Public health equity is a thing we've talked about forever. So obviously politics are crazy right now. And they've took multiple votes on this. They did some crazy parliamentarian stuff where people can bring things forward to the board. And ultimately, all the people that were against it said why they were against it, and it was a little disturbing, but they said it to the New York Times. So yeah, this article appears in May of this year, and it doesn't say, it's in Marathon County. It says it's in Wausau.
Yeah.
So we really got blasted on this international really level of, how can you be against it? You serve with racists, the people, that have voted you in. I mean, I got so much hate mail, so many calls. My office, I mean, it effectively shut me down for the day on that day.
Wow.
It was wild. So
what are the reasons that they're going against this?
I don't know what's in the hearts and the minds of these folks, but some of the things they were saying is that there is no racism here. We don't need this. It's just kind of a ceremonial thing. Like all of the things you say about things
Oh,
when you don't even want to talk about it. So
Mhm.
yeah.
I don't know. I just feel like that's not true. But you know what? Everyone's got their opinions, don't want to,
True.
and their experiences. And I suppose if you've lived your life in a certain way and looking a certain way, you maybe haven't experienced racism.
Right.
I fully believe
Right.
that they haven't. So, but my friends are from all different backgrounds and identify in all different ways, and they're saying something different. And they got their receipts, I'll tell you what. So anyway, I called up my friends on the county board and I said, this can't be the narrative of who we are.
Right.
We're not going down without fighting for our community.
Mhm.
So we held a press conference, and that was where I proclaimed Wausau a community for all, because I
Yay.
can do that. That's one of the things mayors can do. We can make all kinds of proclamations.
Yeah.
So we
Good
did
for
that.
you.
Yeah, we got a ton of coverage. Kind of another article in the New York Times. Really, I've been in the New York Times 3 times in the last year. It's just wild.
Wow.
Yeah.
But I think it was the right thing to do. It kind of pushed people to have a more informed discussion, I think.
Yes. And
Yeah.
you, Katie, have faced anti-Semitic hate,
Oh,
even
gosh.
though you're not Jewish.
Yeah, that's another thing about me that is
Oh.
fun. Yeah. You know what? In it, I do get the hate and the names and I didn't even know what was going on for a while until I talked to my friend at the synagogue. I was like, what does this mean? And like, oh, that is old school anti-Semitism. You should block that person. Yeah, but I also get
Wow.
invited to do cool things like go to Purim and cool stuff.
Yeah.
So yeah,
Well, Wausau is about 10% of the population Hmong,
yeah, even more. It's about 11 at this point, I think.
about
with the last
11%.
census. Yeah.
So this is what I found such difficulty grasping, Katie. It's clearly Marathon County and the city of Wausau has literally become more diverse. I mean, you still have
Oh,
a way to
man.
go, as all of Wisconsin does. All right. So do you think that for these supervisors, was this just like fear? Was this like generational fear? Because it seemed like a bunch of really older white guys that were making these arguments that even if you simply pass a community for all resolution, you're going to end up taking things away from white people. I mean, they were like literally saying things like that.
Yeah, like property redistribution. That was politicking from a county party that
Yeah.
threw these things out there. I mean, I've been being called a socialist for, I don't know, the last 3 years, 5 years, whatever.
Mhm.
Not new to me. So I can't know why these guys are saying this. I served with these people. I served alongside of them. I know that they are in general good people, and I don't think they want to present themselves in this way, and I don't know why they were saying these things. I think the political crazy kind of infected
Yeah.
this discussion. I mean, it
Well,
was obvious they weren't listening.
Yeah. Didn't you even get accused of being the one who brought the New York Times in?
Yes. Oh my gosh. This I feel like somebody should do like a soap opera on this whole thing. So yeah, there's a kind of a right-wing radio station here that accuses me of things every day. And
Wow.
that was one of the things that I brought the New York Times, and I was like, well, I'm glad you think I have that kind of power. I do tweet things. But it wasn't me. It was I actually asked him straight up when he called me for a follow-up. I was like, how did you find out about this? Oh,
Mhm.
well, the Wisconsin Public Radio reporter tweeted about it, and I follow him. Like, okay,
Wow.
makes sense. But not only that, so I spoke at the executive committee in favor of passing this resolution. I said, you should do this. And I didn't even talk about why you should, because it's a good thing to do, because people matter. I
Mhm.
was like, here's the economic thing. You get more out of your business when you're more welcoming. You get more out of your community. You get more workers. Oh my gosh, do we need workers? We all do.
Right. Yeah.
Mhm.
Well, after this whole thing went down, the county board had this crazy, he was a wild speaker that then accused me of promoting genocide of Black people.
Oh, right.
Yeah. So that's the
What?
other twist in this. I had never heard of these people before. I was on a little stroll with my husband and we were listening to the county board meeting because that's the kind of thing I do now.
Mhm.
And he looks at me and goes, did he just say you support genocide? Like, the world is insane right now. I don't know.
Where do people come up with this stuff?
The county board chair ended up apologizing to you for that, didn't he?
Yeah. Yes, he did.
Yeah. Because that I think even he recognized that was just completely over.
That was
the top.
maybe I don't know, a jump way too far, like an Olympic long jump too far.
You think?
Wow. I know you've been accused of being a dreaded socialist.
Yeah.
But one program that you do support is a guaranteed income plan. I know there was talk about that, and has that happened?
Yeah. So if everything went the way I want, we would be doing this right now and being part of this. It's Mayors for a Guaranteed Income is started out of Stockton. It's a big experiment. They actually did it the right way with actual real life researchers and stuff like that. So I signed on immediately when I found out about this. I went, yes, we will take your $100,000 and we'll do this experiment. Now, it turns out, Wisconsin laws are a little different than California. And, I would hate for somebody to sign up and they're like, yes, I get my $600 a month and then lose their Badger care. So I kind of slowed my role a little bit. Madison's also doing this. So kind of working in lockstep with them to make sure that we're designing a program that helps and doesn't hurt people. But yes, I'm super excited about it. I love that we would be contributing to the body of science that would better inform federal policy.
Yeah.
So that's exciting. Definitely support it though.
Excellent.
At least I think I do. If the data shows that I shouldn't, then maybe I'll change my mind.
Yeah, okay, great. Go ahead, Matt.
When I was reading one of the articles that Tony had sent to me, the holy balls term, I love it. And you even said there's T-shirts out there with that on it.
Yeah, there's T-shirts, there's wristbands, there's all kinds of.
Wow.
I'm thinking Christmas sweaters maybe this year.
I love it. Where was that born? I mean, where did that come from?
So, way back, and I went to a small private school, and, there are ways that you must behave in private school to not, upset the apple cart. And I remember being at home and my dad, I swear he was watching Crossfire and he was watching it and he just looked at them and he goes, holy balls. I was in 6th grade. I laughed so hard, It stuck in my brain forever.
Wow.
So, that is the exclamation of choice in my world. That was actually, and I tweeted it when I won.
Yes,
it's very exciting.
Yeah.
Well, I didn't even know I had won. I thought I had won. I'm like, is this all of the information? I was on my Zoom call with my friends because, pandemic life. And super exciting. It was actually the 21st time I had tweeted holy balls. So in case anybody thought that was unique, it was that time that was unique, I guess.
You mentioned your dad. Your dad was a member of the Wausau City Council, right?
Yeah, he was. When I was a kid, he was elected to the city council, and then he also served on the Marathon County Board as well.
Oh, wow. So you followed in his footsteps.
Yeah, I don't know why. I mean, I would listen to him on the phone talking to people, and they would yell at him, and he was always so delightful. He was never gonna be mean back to folks. So I don't know.
But you have worked in the corporate world, correct?
Yeah, I have. Before becoming mayor, I worked at Foot Locker. I worked in integrated marketing, which is kind of nebulous, and I liked it that way.
But do you see now as politics being your forever career now?
I don't know. I feel like the last year and a half has been so crazy that I just can't really make a long-term decision about what I want to do with myself. I mean, I'm covering it up now. I finally went to the hairdresser, but like so much gray hair from this job. It is wild.
Well, you are you 37? If you don't mind giving your age out, are you 37 years old now?
That is how old I am.
Okay. So you're kind of like the early millennial generation. I know before the show, you were telling us you kind of feel like a Gen X.
Yeah.
But there's so much about you that I think strikes people as a millennial generation. Like you're kind of tech savvy.
Am I?
Yeah.
Some days.
you don't, I mean, I've had so many millennial students over the last 10 to 15 years, and they're really passionate about things, but they don't like fighting those old kind of battles, right? They kind of, and I think you strike people as being kind of like a millennial generation elected official. But it seems like the values that you hold, and you've kind of been suggesting this to us, have been tested seriously in the last year and a half, right?
Oh my gosh, yes. I mean, if you don't know who you are and you get into a job like this, people are going to try and tell you who you are, and then it might come out of your mouth. And I certainly don't want that. I don't want anything coming out of my mouth that I don't believe in. And
Exactly.
it's tough.
Exactly. Now you were elected in 2020. 2020. You come up for re-election in 2024.
Yes.
Have you decided yet if you're going to run again?
Isn't it too early to decide?
Yeah,
I mean, I'm
right.
excited. I mean, I don't have any reason to say, no, I'm not going to run for re-election. And it's interesting, all the people that are kind of positing what I'm going to do in the future. And
Right.
so.
Yes. In fact, that was one thing we wanted to bring up. Your name has come up as a possible candidate for not governor, but for lieutenant governor.
What does the lieutenant governor even do? And why would I be good at that?
Wakes up every morning and sees if the governor is still alive.
Yeah.
And if the governor is still alive, then I guess like has coffee and hangs
whatever
out.
he wants to do, or she.
Yeah.
Well, we've been trying to get an
Exactly.
interview with him. So once we do, we'll find out. I
Yes,
guess,
we
right?
are. Yeah, we are trying to get an interview with Mandela
Oh,
Barnes,
well,
actually.
I'll text him and let him know you're looking for him.
Yeah, we have. Yeah, we've had trouble aligning our schedules. Oh, you're on a text relationship.
I didn't say that.
No, but
We can edit that out.
is obviously you haven't declared anything, but is it something you would consider?
This is one of those things where like data is really important. And, obviously I want to support the governor. I think he's doing really great things. I think at his core, he's a really good person and he's a great leader for these crazy times. So I would want to know that what I was bringing to the table was helping him and I could support him and that we would have a good, relationship in that way. So, if I found out that data existed and it was saying a certain thing, I might consider it. But
yeah.
I also cannot imagine a world where I am a good mayor or kind of okay mayor, like whatever I'm doing now. I can't imagine doing this and also running for a statewide office. That's crazy.
Right.
It is a lot of work. I mean, just running a little campaign is a lot of work.
Well, I could make the case for a Lieutenant Governor Katie Rosenberg. I mean, it's likely that the Republican candidate for governor, I mean, I think is probably going to be Rebecca Clayfish.
Lieutenant governors everywhere.
Yeah, she was the former lieutenant governor, and she'll be running against Tony Evers, older, mellow guy, and and you check off a lot of the boxes, right? You'd be, even though in Wisconsin, the governor and the lieutenant governor, they don't really run. Well, they kind of run as a ticket now, don't they?
They do once the primaries are over. So
yeah.
And she surprised. I mean, frankly, she surprised everybody when she won. And before that, with Doyle, Barbara Lawton and Doyle had a different kind of a relationship too. So.
Absolutely. But you would check off a lot of the boxes, right? Younger, female, from an area that has a lot of rural towns and counties, while Wausau.
You check off those boxes.
You check. Yeah. So here, Matt, we're
Been
talking
in the New York
into it
Times
here.
3 times. Yeah, here we go.
By the end of this interview, we're going to have an announcement of the
We got
candidacy.
national coverage already. This is great.
Yeah, exactly.
I don't know though. I mean, are those the right boxes though? Right? Like you want to be strong on certain policy stances, right? I don't know.
Well,
again, what does the lieutenant governor need to say, or is it just cheerleader?
Well, I do think, Katie, in all seriousness, that the Democratic Party is so often perceived as being Madison centric.
Oh, that is true.
That a candidate from Marathon County who has had to be involved in some of the battles that you're involved in, I personally think that would be very effective for Governor Evers' reelection campaign. But we'll see.
Right,
I think
so. If the pollsters are listening, I'm going to need some data.
Yeah, exactly.
There we go.
Yeah, it's also one of those seats that I think a lot of people get into, right? So when all is said and done, there's probably going to be like 15 or 20 lieutenant governor.
Oh my
candidates.
gosh, I've heard there's already 13. And I'm like, you're not including me in that, are you? Because
oh, really? Wow.
Maybe that's breaking news. I don't know 14. Who told me that.
14.
Yeah. Wow.
Yeah, that's a lot.
Yeah, it is. And and as you said, your job right now is full time, and so the so the prospect
full time,
right? And so the prospect of running running for lieutenant governor would probably be a full time job, I would imagine.
Yeah, it's a lot. I mean, if you want to be effective in that, right? I don't really want to half-ass anything, so I gotta decide.
Yeah. Exactly right. So we got a few minutes left here. Can you make a pitch for Wausau, Wisconsin? We have listeners who maybe have never been to Wausau. And I guess one of your jobs as mayor is to be the chief cheerleader for Wausau, Wisconsin. So what, we know that Wausau has a mayor that passed the community for all. So you clearly believe that Wausau is welcoming. So tell us what the attractions are about that city.
Oh man, we've got a lot going on. We we have local amenities like a kayak course right in our downtown. If you're into whitewater kayaking, that is a thing we do right downtown. We have mountain biking, aggressive kind. It's awesome. If you are into mountain biking, we have less aggressive mountain biking as well. We have Rib Mountain, or Granite Peak, I guess is what the ski hill is called. So any kind of skiing you like to do, we do that. We've got cross country skiing, snowshoeing. So if you're an outdoorsy person, we are so perfectly located.
The Wisconsin River goes right through the city.
Yeah,
right?
we're right on the Wisconsin River. And actually, that's one of the things I'm kind of partnering up with some other mayors who are on the Wisconsin River to advocate for stuff that we all care about. Super sexy stuff like PFAS, anti-PFAS, obviously.
Right.
So yeah, if you like outdoor stuff, if you like being active, we got it. If you like, eating, I do. We have a wide variety. Since 11% of our population is Hmong, we have so many Southeast Asian restaurants. Delicious, amazing. And we also have some mainstays that have been around for a while. You've probably heard of the Backbone Cafe. They've been around forever. So fun. We no longer have a mall that was bulldozed. So it opened the year I was born. So I got to be mayor during the tenure of it, but it's going to be awesome once we redevelop it. So.
Oh yeah. What is is there a plan in place?
Yeah. So we have a nonprofit organization that came together. It was built out of some foundations. So they wanted to buy them all, keep it locally owned, because you see the direction of malls in general. You get these hedge fund managers that let it go to hell. We didn't want that. So we've got a really cool plan that will kind of connect that downtown even more to the river. So Four Seasons Farmers Market. I've heard about a children's museum, maybe. I feel like that's breaking news. So
how cool.
Yeah,
how cool.
Lots of cool stuff going on.
Yeah.
I didn't even talk about the art, the Woodson Art Museum and the internationally renowned Birds and Art exhibit just opened. So
wow.
We like birds here.
Yeah, so there is a lot to do in Wausau, Wisconsin. For our listeners that live close to the region, definitely go and check it out. And
I have a random question.
Again, go ahead, Matt.
Random.
No, completely random question. I'm out here in Colorado from Wisconsin, but one of the things that we're trying to do, especially in our little town here, is small homes, tiny homes.
Oh yeah.
And my wife and I are really big into the tiny home movement and the minimalist movement. We've been minimizing for the last year. So do you see Wausau as a place that might embrace tiny homes? I know there's like here, you can't have one unless it's on a foundation, and now that's changing a little bit. But I would love to see, something in Wisconsin that embraces that.
Totally. Yeah. We've talked a lot about this, especially as it relates to the affordable housing issues.
Yeah.
We call those accessory dwelling units right now, I think. So we would have to figure out how to rezone, which we can easily do. I'm 100% supportive of this. And I get to chair plan commission. So we can definitely, so we have a group that's kind of dedicated to researching and figuring out how to do this. And once they come forward with a plan, it's going to be a really good discussion.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Excellent.
Very cool.
Excellent.
Very cool.
Great.
So I didn't mean to cut you off, Tony, before.
No,
so
that's fine. No,
Yeah.
Katie, once again, thanks so much for being here. You've got a lot of fans across the state. And, I was so disappointed reading those stories about the community for all, but what did actually inspire me was that people like you were taking the high road. And history will show that the kind of resistance that you offered to some of the fear mongering and the paranoia, I think that will go down as what Wausau really does stand for. So we appreciate
I hope so.
it. Yeah. No, I know.
We're doing
I know
it.
so. I know so. I think we're at the point in this country where it's, we're becoming more tolerant, we're becoming more diverse, but obviously these kinds of changes are always accompanied by kicking and screaming and an old guard that's just going to keep fighting it till the bitter end.
Yeah. I'm feeling, I get it. I mean, I'm going to fight until the end too. So.
Oh, good for you.
Thank you for fighting.
Yeah.
I love
Thank you so
Wausau.
much. All right, Katie, thanks again. We'll talk to you again soon,
Thank
hopefully.
you.
Well, there you go, Tony. Another fantastic interview on Running on Empty. I'm loving these.
Yeah, I am too. And I really appreciate Katie Rosenberg, the mayor of Wausau. I think she's really a dynamic young official. And,
Yeah.
some people are calling her the future of progressive politics in Wisconsin. Maybe, maybe not. But
Well, I love her attitude. I mean, it's
yeah.
just, I mean, she wants to get stuff done, even when we asked, the question on, potentially, running for lieutenant governor. But she's like, I want to know what I can get done. And I
Right.
love that about her. So
Yeah.
this was fantastic.
Yeah, I do too. And I really appreciate the stand that she's taken on the Community for All resolution. And,
Absolutely.
that whole discussion is so frustrating because on the one hand, you say, how could anyone oppose something like that? I mean, it's
Right.
basically just a statement of we welcome everyone. But then it occurred to me that, since the 1990s, all local politics has become nationalized.
Right.
You remember Newt Gingrich? I think Newt Gingrich was the one who did this, right? His
Mhm.
idea was make every local race into a national race.
Yeah.
And I think that's now become dominant. So it seemed to me, reading about what happened there in Wausau and Marathon County, the people who were opposed to it had this kind of like Trump national mentality, right?
Yeah.
Right. And it's like, no, you're actually, you don't want your local community to be welcoming. Like, what's wrong with you?
I mean, like we talked a little bit offline, but I mean, some of these were like QAnon type conspiracy things.
Right.
And I don't know where they pulled them from. I mean, it doesn't make sense.
That's the thing. I mean, my guess is a lot of these people, they watch the national news.
Yeah.
And then they take these national pundit talking points.
Sure.
And they bring it into their local community.
Yeah.
That's really destructive. And as a nation, we got to find a way out of that, man.
Yeah. Well, and that's where the misinformation starts to creep into the local, elections and the local communities. Yep. With a lot of this national stuff coming in, the people don't even living in the state, yet they're chiming in onto, what they think. And it's like, don't just don't.
Well, as a baby boomer who I think I'd like to think over the years I've stood for the good values, right? Welcoming, tolerance, fairness, justice.
Yeah.
I like the fact that we can hand off the torch to people like Katie Rosenberg, the millennials/Gen X who, like you said, want to get things done and is fighting the good fight, definitely has her heart in the right place. So Look forward to having her on again at some point.
Absolutely. And we need more folks like her in politics too. So the people that want to get stuff done, good people that want to get stuff done.
Yeah, she's more than just the holy balls phrase, right?
Exactly. Exactly. Although I do want one of those t-shirts. I want to get one of those t-shirts. So.
And I know you will get one. I know you will get one.
Absolutely.
All right, man. Let's until next time, let's everyone stay elevated.
Stay elevated, everybody. We'll see you next time.
You're running on empty with Matt and Tony.